Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 115 of the Addiction Unlimited podcast. I'm your coach, Angela Pugh, helping you love sobriety and understand it with a fresh, new perspective. This is our last week of Double Down on Your Recovery series. You guys, this has been incredible. 5 weeks of double episodes, double the support, double the strategies. We've covered a lot of issues, and I've given you some pretty simple and focused action steps to really get you where you want to be. And we're going to continue on exactly that same path today. We are going to dig into this topic of an addicted state of mind versus a recovery state of mind, because I want you to see moment by moment we are in one of these, right? All day, every day. And you know you want to be in the recovery one more than the addicted one, right? I hope. I also want to give you another bonus. I know it's going to be sad when our double episodes end next week, so I wanted to give you a little extra something. I've got a video series for you. Build your sober support. You know how important it is to connect with other alcohol-free and sober people. We are a family and we love and support and protect one another on a whole new level. So I put together a quick video series for you called Build Your Sober Support. And I'll break it down for you to keep it simple. I'll give you all the answers so you don't have to spend a decade and a half figuring it out like I have. It's only 3 videos, nothing crazy, but it's totally free and full of those truth bombs you love so much. You can sign up for the video series at www.myrecoverytoolbox.com/series. And you know I will link that for you in the show notes too. www.myrecoverytoolbox.com/series, because it's a video series. www.myrecoverytoolbox.com/series. Got it? Got it? Good. You and I talk a lot about thoughts and behaviors and recognizing that these need to change if you want to change. It makes perfect sense. If I want to be different, I have to do different. That means my thought process has to be different and my actions have to be different. Where so many people stumble is they focus on the behavior and doing things differently, but they don't actually change their mindset or perspective or their point of view on why they are doing it differently. If you want to quit drinking, you understand that you can't have another drink. When you get a craving, you can easily rationalize changing the behavior, right? Don't take a drink. That's the behavior. But if all you're doing is not taking the drink, that's cool for a while. But you have to change your mindset and thought process about drinking. If your thought process is that alcohol is your solution, it makes you feel better, it takes all your pain away, you can't imagine living without it. If that's your thought process, then you're going to drink again. When you're ready to commit to not drinking anymore, you have to change your perspective to the reality that alcohol is not your solution, but it's the problem. It creates chaos and drama in your life. It makes you feel terrible about yourself. It makes you do embarrassing things. It makes you feel like crap. When you get the mindset shift, that's when you can really change your behavior for the long term. You aren't quitting drinking because you just want a different liquid in your glass, right? Like you're quitting drinking because you want to feel better. You want to be a better person. You want to feel proud of yourself and have a good life that you enjoy. You want to be a better employee and parent and partner. You want to be more dependable and an active part of your family and your community. You want to wake up refreshed and grateful instead of angry, hungover, and humiliated. You see what I'm saying? changing just the behavior is only going to get you so far. You have to change your state of mind. I want you to think about this in all of your negative thinking, right? Like, are you being a black and white thinker, or are you catastrophizing everything, blowing it way out of proportion and making it a bigger deal than it actually is? Are you a person who is constantly blaming other people, pointing out all the things you think everyone else is doing wrong and how you think everybody else is messed up, instead of really looking at yourself? Are you a negative person, always pointing out the things you don't like in every situation? Are you critical of yourself, putting yourself down and minimizing yourself? Are you a taker rather than a giver? That selfishness is a huge piece of us as people with addiction. We take selfishness to a whole new level because for us, really, it's just survival, right? It's not that we're doing it intentionally. I didn't even understand how selfish I was until I got sober, right? And my sponsor was hashing all that stuff out with me. It amazes me now when I look back, but we are so selfish because it is survival for us, right? Do you blame all of your exes for your failed relationships, or blame your boss when your job isn't going well, or blame your spouse when your relationship is challenging? All of these thought processes are an addicted state of mind. You know how I talk about that addiction needs a certain set of circumstances to thrive? It needs you to be isolated and alone. It needs you to feel bad about yourself. Being stuck in an addiction state of mind means your thoughts continue to be all of those negative things it's been while you were in active addiction. Or for people that don't have addiction, you still have unhealthy behaviors you feed, whether it's codependence or people pleasing or being dishonest, passive aggressive, lazy and unmotivated, being a perfectionist, or being super critical of your kids or your employees or whatever. We all have these thought processes and behaviors. For those of us with addiction, the stakes are just higher, because if I don't get my head in order and get my life together and stay sober, my addiction will cost me my life, as it already almost did. Last week, I talked about how powerful your thoughts are, and that every single thing you do on a daily basis starts as a thought in your head. There is no work more important than getting your head together, because this is the epicenter for everything else. Thoughts equal actions, actions equal reward or consequence. That's the condensed version of the equation, and that's what I want you to focus on. That every single thing you do starts as a thought in your head. So how can you accurately figure out how your thoughts are? How do you do that? You listen to yourself. Listen to what the voices in your head are saying. We all have self-talk. I call it the committee. It's all the talk that swirls around in your head all day, every day. Listen to it. What is it saying? What are you feeding yourself? What kind of negativity are you feeding yourself? Where we tend to screw this up is that we rationalize and justify our negativity. If I catch myself talking trash on someone in my head, maybe someone doesn't respond to my email and it's been several days, or I've sent someone a calendar link so they can schedule time on my calendar and they don't respond, they don't schedule the time. I get irritated with this stuff, because if I send a calendar link with a few time slots for someone to pick from, then it takes that time off my calendar until the person responds. So I can't schedule anything else in that time slot. And people don't respond. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the problem is, but people don't respond. And I get very irritated by this. This is why my assistant handles my schedule requests instead of me, because she is much nicer than me. So I will catch myself getting frustrated, and my head will go on this rampage like, WTF, this person reached out to me and asked me for a meeting. They said they wanted to collaborate on something. I'm trying to be accommodating. I've offered them 3 different time options. I mean, Do they think they'll just schedule whenever? Like they're not respecting my time. They're not respecting my clients who are my top priority, right? And it's not respecting my clients because my clients want to schedule appointments. And if I have all of these little time slots that I've offered to people, it makes it harder for me to schedule my actual clients who I actually care about. And so I get all worked up about this. They're being selfish and disrespectful and yada, yada, yada. Although I can hear all the negativity and judgment and all those thoughts, I can rationalize and justify it because I feel like I'm right and the other person is wrong. So I will let myself off the hook with all that negative BS. And that negative BS will just get bigger and take over my whole mindset if I don't stop it immediately. So I have to check myself. Instead of putting my labels on someone else's behavior, right? Like I labeled that person, oh, they're being disrespectful. Sometimes I might even call them lazy. I'm like, what the heck, dude? You're too lazy to even respond to an email, which honestly is ridiculous. And also, who cares? Even if they are being lazy, I can't sit here and act like I've never been lazy, right? But that's how I have to check myself. I remind myself that number one, I have no idea what is happening in that person's life or with their time. And I don't know why they aren't responding. Number two, it's none of my damn business what's going on in someone else's life. It's none of my business. Number three, no one is required to behave the way I deem appropriate, right? Typical alcoholic behavior. I just want everybody to do what I want them to do, and then my life will be so fantastic, right? But nobody is required to behave the way I want them to. And number four, the beauty of it all is that I get to decide how much of my time I give and who I spend it with. Meaning, if I sent you a schedule link and you blow it off, I get to decide to just move on. That's all. Let's walk through another example that may be a better fit for you. Say you've been sober for a few weeks or maybe even a few months, and your partner is having a hard time trusting you. They're still asking you a ton of questions about where you are, what you're doing. They continue to ask you if you've been drinking. And you are feeling a little irritated by this. Because for you, you're feeling like you're working really hard to be sober and stay sober. You feel like you're doing all the right things. You've been alcohol-free for a while now. Why are they still questioning you? They should be praising you and telling you what a great job you're doing. But instead, you're still having to deal with trust issues. Here's how I want you to turn this around. Because in this thought process, you're only thinking of yourself and how you think your partner should be treating you. I want you to stop for a minute and think really hard about the position your partner is in and how they feel about it. We put our friends and family through a lot with our drinking and all the behavior that comes with it. We lie, we hide things from them, we don't show up when we're supposed to. We usually way overreact to situations with drama and chaos. We spend tons of time hungover and being grumpy and irritable and really just being a jerk, right? For your spouse or significant other, you've caused a ton of heartache. They have a ton of fear that you are going to get hurt or you're going to hurt someone else. Or for those of us who drank extensively, there's a constant fear that we're going to die. They can't plan their future because you're so unstable. They have no idea what condition you're going to be in or if you're even going to be in the picture with them. Usually, they've had to maintain like the burden of the household, keeping things in order, paying bills, or managing your spending, or really handling the kids, making excuses to your kids about why you're quote unquote sick today and can't go to the park with them, or making excuses to the family about why you couldn't come to the family dinner because you aren't feeling well. You know, that's the position that we put our loved ones in, or your friends. They're exhausted. by the behavior and being so erratic, not having any boundaries about when you call them, calling at all hours of the night or showing up at their house uninvited, also at all hours of the night. You're that friend that always ends up needing to be carried home or babysat in the bathroom, or your friends have to cut it off early because you're wasted and they have to get you out of wherever you are, or you threw up in their car, or you threw up on them. Who knows? I don't want you to think about this stuff and feel guilt and shame because you aren't the victim here. I want you to think about the dynamic honestly and recognize that our behaviors have a major impact on the people around us. And they have a right to feel the way they feel. They have a right to not trust us or believe us for as long as it takes. They have a right to draw some healthy boundaries and to not want to spend time with us because they're tired of our craziness and they can't take it anymore. They have earned the right to be tired of our behavior. And keep that in mind too. They're not tired of you. They love you. They're tired of the drama and chaos and behavior. And that's not you. That's alcohol. But instead of thinking about yourself, think about them. And don't let yourself off the hook and don't give up because it feels uncomfortable and super hard, because they didn't give up on you when you were super hard to deal with. It's just time to grow up now and realize that we have a mess to clean up. And don't get caught up in that thought process that you deserve to be treated better. You deserve to be trusted because you've been sober for 20 whole minutes. You know what I mean? It takes time. If I got what I deserve, I'd be in jail for the rest of my life because I drove drunk almost every day for over a decade. Okay? Don't start telling yourself what you deserve unless you're ready to really get honest about what you deserve. Let's take this a step farther. When you do get caught up in the guilt and shame, because that is also who we are, we love to beat ourselves up and tell ourselves what shitty humans we are. If the committee starts talking that trash to you, I want you to stop and take an inventory of all the good things you've done. Remember, we are not all good or all bad. We have pieces of both. I'm the nicest, kindest, most loving person you will ever meet. And if the right button gets pushed, I'm stubborn, condescending, I'm abusive with my words. I can be a real jerk. Now, at this stage of the game, that side of me doesn't come out often because I've worked a lot on my emotional intelligence and I can regulate my emotions better. But it's still there, right? That doesn't make me a bad person. It means that we are all a puzzle with 1,000 pieces, and some of my pieces aren't great. Most of my pieces are fantastic, and I have some that still need work. Just because you've made some bad choices or done some bad things doesn't mean you're a bad human. And even beyond that, usually our bad choices are because of alcohol, not because you're bad, but because alcohol is bad and it brings up a lot of badness with it. This isn't who you are, it's who alcohol is. So don't get stuck thinking you're the victim and you are so bad and such a bad person and you deserve to be treated like shit. Woe is you. No, I want you to think like, wow, I definitely have not been the best version of myself since I've been giving drinking all my time and energy, and I've made a mess. Now it's time to clean up the mess and show my people who I can be and remind them who I really am in my heart and soul. That's what I want you to think. It does not serve you to sit around and obsess about all your mistakes. That's addicted thinking. It serves you and the people around you for you to obsess about all the things you can do to get better. Focusing on the negative just brings more negativity. Focus on the solution and it will bring more solutions. Are you with me? Yes, we've totally got this. Addicted state of mind is negativity, guilt, shame, resentment, isolation, selfishness, dishonesty, manipulation, all those things that alcohol specializes in, right? Like that's alcohol's specialty right there. I want you to shift to that strong and powerful recovery state of mind. It's no secret, I don't like to sit in the problem. I don't want to talk about the problem over and over and over again. I don't want to share the problem with every person that will listen. I want to be in the solution. I don't care about the problem. The problem is not even interesting. It's not even interesting to talk about. It's a pain in the ass, and I want to be in the solution. Whatever the problem is, look at it for a minute. Figure out where you went wrong and how you could have done it better and how you need to improve. And then get to the improving part. Okay? Let's say my problem is that I snapped at someone and wasn't super nice. This is not far-fetched, by the way. If I snap at someone and I have a moment of being unkind, I have to get quiet for a minute and I get very introspective, right? I don't think about the other person in this equation. I think about me and my behavior and how I could have done it better. I don't think about the other person and, well, I only reacted that way because they said this or they did that and they deserved it, right? That's ridiculous. We're not 12. It's time to be an adult now. I look at myself, my behavior, and how I could have done it better. I mean, I could go there and figure out how to blame it on the other person, but what good does that do? It's not my job to point out someone else's flaws and figure out all the ways I think they're screwing up. It is my job to check myself. So I get very introspective and I look at me and my behavior. How could I have handled that better? Did I really communicate as clearly as I thought I did, or did I leave room for confusion that I didn't see? How could I do a better job next time to alleviate that confusion? And what do I need to apologize for? Did I raise my voice? Was I a little mean? Was I insulting? Was I short and irritated? Because ultimately, that's not who I want to be. People are already a little scared of me. I don't need to do anything to make that worse, right? I don't want to be impatient or unkind. I communicate very well and I'm comfortable having any conversation, no matter how challenging it is. And if we are having a challenging conversation, I want you to feel safe and loved and valued. The truth is, if I'm being snappy or short with somebody or irritable, it has nothing to do with that person, and it has everything to do with me and my mood and whatever else is going on in my world. And that is my responsibility, to check myself, take a few minutes somewhere quiet, get my head right, and then go make amends to those I wasn't fair to. Taking personal responsibility, taking your own inventory instead of taking someone else's inventory, and being willing to step up and apologize when you screw something up, that's a recovery state of mind. That's being emotionally intelligent. That's being a grown-up. Get in the solution. Don't wallow in the problem. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I acted like that. That's what I always do. I'm such a jerk. I don't deserve this person in my life. I'm going to get fired for being a jerk. I did it again. This will never change. I'll never be able to be different. I'm so tired of this. That's wallowing in the problem. Get in the solution. Be in the recovery state of mind. I want you to sit back and go, wow, I'm so bummed I did that again. I know I want to work on that. That person didn't deserve that reaction from me. I can definitely do better. I'm going to go to them and apologize for overreacting or for raising my voice or for being insulting. And then I'm going to spend some time figuring out how to work on this within myself so I don't continue making the same mistake. New beginning right now. I know better and I know I can do better. That's the solution. Do you know what I mean when I say take someone else's inventory? This is a 12-step term, so a lot of you might not know it. This is when you sit back and you list out everything you think someone else is doing wrong or what you think is wrong with them, right? If you're looking at your partner and thinking about or telling them about all the things they need to improve on, you're taking their inventory. If you're looking at them and you're like, you're lazy, disrespectful, you don't communicate well, you sleep late, you need a better job, you don't have any motivation, you never help around the house, you're always late, you're not dependable, even your family says they can't depend on you, blah, blah, blah. You're taking their personality inventory. And quite frankly, it's just not your place. Your job is to take your own inventory because you're the only person you have any power over. You are the only thing that fits inside your hula hoop, and that's where your focus should be. Another thing I would say is usually the things that really bother you in another person are the things that bother you about yourself. So when you catch yourself pointing the finger at someone else, take a minute and do your own inventory on that same issue. If I'm complaining about someone being late, the first thing I'm going to do is look at all the things I've done in the past week and get honest about how many of them I've been late for. Because if I'm being pissy about it, I'm probably doing it. Or if you're irritated with your friend for canceling plans at the last minute, look at all the plans you've made in the last month and see how often you've canceled. And if you haven't canceled, and you have a friend who consistently cancels at the last minute, then instead of being mad at your friend for doing what they always do, take responsibility for yourself and stop making plans with that friend. They've already shown you that they cancel. They've done it time and time again, and you know that irritates you, so don't make plans with them anymore. Don't get caught up taking their inventory and telling yourself all their shortcomings. They're always canceling. They need a lesson in time management. They're always doing everything at the last minute, rushing around, totally unprepared, not even thinking about how their actions affect anyone else, right? The committee is telling you what a terrible and selfish friend they are and how you've been victimized because you planned your whole day around this time with your friend, and once again, they canceled. All of those things may be true about your friend, and it's none of your damn business. They are perfectly allowed to have bad habits and things they need to work on. They are perfectly allowed to learn their own lessons in their own time. It is not your job to punish them or teach them a lesson. I love this punishing thing. You go, I'm just not going to talk to them. I'm not going to return their calls. I'm not going to return their text messages, right? Like you're punishing them for what they for what they did that doesn't make you happy. Your only job is to love and respect your friend and let them work through their own stuff on their own time. And if they cancel a lot and that bothers you, then stop making plans with them. You are perfectly allowed to set boundaries, and you're perfectly allowed to be annoyed, but be in the solution and not the problem. Look at the situation and think, wow, I want to make sure I don't do that because this is really frustrating to me and I don't want to be frustrating to my friends. So I'm going to make sure I only make plans when I know for sure I can show up. This is a great lesson for me to learn. I'm so grateful I got to learn this from my friend. That's a recovery state of mind. Shifting from the negative and problem-focused thinking to positive and solution-focused thinking. If the problem is you're bored, well, it's not going to serve you well to sit around being irritated about how bored you are. The solution is find something to do. If you're bored, you're being boring. That's what my sponsor taught me. It's no one else's responsibility to entertain me. It's mine. So focus on finding something to do. Challenge yourself to do something new. Google how to have fun at home. Or how can I have fun if I don't have any money? Then actually try some of the things that Google gives you. Don't look at every list and let the committee tell you why you don't want to do each and everything. Do not be a person who creates a problem for every solution. Be the person who says, oh, the committee's telling me that's lame, so I better try it. You have to go against the committee. Remember, part of that addicted state of mind is that we tend to make decisions based on the wrong things. Our motives are usually instant gratification and selfishness. We're always thinking about what we're going to get out of something or someone. How is it going to help me in some way? What's it going to give me or do for me? The point of this is to start to transition from that old way of thinking and doing things to a fresh, new perspective on how to be and how to live your life. If you want to be different, you have to do different. So when the committee says something is lame or not worth your time or you won't like it or you have anxiety so you can't do that, whatever problem the committee is creating to keep you from growing, you have to remind yourself that the committee is trained in the addicted state of mind. So it can't be making decisions for you right now. The committee is functioning on years of programming that is exactly the programming that we're trying to change right now. So the committee isn't quite in line with your new vision for your life, your sober vision, how you want your life to look, what kind of person you want to be now. Not who you've been in the past, but who you are now and who you're growing into. And don't forget, we're doing that sober vision workshop too. What you want your life to be like as a sober person. Who do you want to be? And if you want more info about that, if you want an email about when I schedule it, I haven't scheduled it yet. It's coming up pretty soon. But if you want to sign up just to get an email from me saying, hey, here's the sign up. It's going on this day and this time. It's totally free, but you can sign up to get early access at www.myrecoverytoolbox.com/108 because that sober vision conversation was episode 108. Again, it's www.myrecoverytoolbox.com/108. And that's just telling me that you want to be in the loop to get early access to that workshop when I do set the date, which is coming up pretty soon. And I will link that in the show notes for you also. Anyway, when the committee is saying something is lame or telling you all the reasons you shouldn't do it or you can't do it or whatever the thing is, the committee is keeping you from growing. And you've got to remind yourself of who you want to grow into. And growing means you're going to have to try some things that don't sound super cool. Fun is going to look different, and you're going to have to push yourself outside your comfort zone. This is really how you start to rebuild your self-confidence and your self-esteem. You challenge yourself and you do what is right for you and not the same old thing because it's the same old comfortable thing. Then you start to trust yourself and you start to see that you really can do this. You really can live sober and be happy. You really can hang out with people who don't drink and have fun. You really can go on vacation and enjoy yourself sober even more than you enjoyed it drunk. You begin to shift to that recovery state of mind where you protect your sobriety and protect your future, protect your family. Get protective of your new life. Quick recap. Focus on the solution, not the problem. Think about the effect your behavior has had on those around you instead of feeling like you're being mistreated or misunderstood. Get honest with yourself about yourself. Do not be a person who creates a problem for every solution. Like in the example of figuring out different ways to have fun. If you look down the list of things to try and the committee tells you why every single thing isn't an option for you, that's creating a problem for every solution. If you're talking to a friend about a problem and they offer you 2 or 3 solutions and your immediate response is to shoot down every solution offered, you're creating a problem for every solution. I deal with this with clients all the time. It's just basic kind of closed-mindedness. And most of the time you don't even realize you're doing it. But they'll tell me an issue that they're dealing with and I'll say, oh, you could try this. And immediately they'll say, no, I did that before. It didn't work. And I'll go, oh, okay. How about we try it this way and do this and see if that works? No, I don't have the time to do that. Or if I do that, then this will happen and this other thing will happen and that won't work. At that point, I understand that they're really just stuck in the problem. And the negativity is so deep-seated, they don't even realize how negative they're being. Instead of immediately looking for the reason something won't work, how about you first look at the reasons it might work? Instead of immediately pointing out all the things you don't like about something, how about you first point out all the things you do like about it? Instead of telling yourself all the negative things you don't like about yourself. Do an inventory of all your great qualities and all the good you do and the kindness you share on a daily basis. You see that shift? Addicted state of mind, recovery state of mind. Okay, my friends, we have one bonus episode left in the Double Down in Your Recovery series. This has been an amazing journey full of tools and action steps and worksheets and cheat sheets and a workshop. Talk about a ton of value. This has been so much fun. And just because the double episodes are coming to an end doesn't mean the bonuses are coming to an end. Remember, I have another bonus starting for you next week, a video series, Build Your Recovery Support. It's 3 videos. We're going to dig into why having a sober support system is absolutely necessary. Creating this tribe for yourself will change your life and change your sobriety for sure. And not only do you get to experience all the benefits of this new support system, but you help others at the same time. Being connected, having that consistent support and motivation, sharing our stories, getting inspiration from one another, it's so good. I mean, you can spend over a decade spinning your wheels trying to figure out all the answers like I did. Or you could just get all the fast results and have all the answers at your fingertips without wasting a ton of your time and energy. But you can take the hard road if you want it. I always had to learn everything the hard way, you guys. I always took the hard road. I'm so grateful that I finally got over my stubbornness. At some point in my sobriety, I finally got to this place where I'm happy to let others guide me. You know what I mean? I spent so much time fighting against everything, the most simple things, because I thought it wouldn't work for me or whatever, when really all I had to do was shut up and listen. And I am super grateful that I'm finally in that space, that I'm happy to take the resources and tools that are offered to me. And I'm happy to get coaches and mentors in my life that can get me farther, right? Because I wasted a lot of time not doing that stuff. And I don't want you to waste your time, right? Anyway, you can get the video series, which starts next week. Sign up at www.myrecoverytoolbox.com/series. www.myrecoverytoolbox.com/series. And of course, I will link that in the show notes along with everything else we've talked about, along with how to get a free consult with me. You know, if you're thinking about working with me and you have some questions, just sign up for a consultation and I can answer. It's with me personally, and I can answer all the questions you have and figure out what program is kind of the best fit for you. Okay? I hope you are having a fantastic day, and I will see you on Friday.